Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. So, I wasn't sure what type of video to do for you guys today, but I figured let's do some Fernbus simulator short little free ride video. Also, I want to talk to you guys about Google Stadia a little bit, because I know I have a lot of you now who follow me due to the Google Stadia. Oh, I think I can make it here. A couple of things about Google Stadia that I want to say, and that's for whom is Google Stadia? You know, that's a good question. For whom is Google Stadia? Well, I personally think Google Stadia is for individuals who don't want to deal with waiting for downloads, waiting for updates. Even this game, to start this game, you have to go through so many updates. Update this, update that, wait for the download, and then make sure that everything's compatible with your PC, with your graphics card. Download the new drivers from the graphics card. Make sure that your Logitech drivers are up to date, or your Thrustmaster racing wheel firmware update, it's up to date. I mean, when you are playing a PC game or a console game, there's always a lot of updates and a lot of things you have to go through before you can start the game. With Google Stadia, you don't have to worry about that, and I think that's the one caveat that appeals, I think, to that appeals to the majority of people. You know, now granted, there's the lack of games right now on Google Stadia. There's not that many games, and but we have to be honest about it. You know, this service just started like a month and a half ago. All right, they just started, so they don't have the luxury to have like thousands of games, you know, or like or hundreds and hundreds of games like the other services that've been around for decades. You can't compare Google Stadia to Steam. I've seen some people compare Google Stadia to Steam. I was like, come on, man. Steam's been around forever. They got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of games. All right. So I think we need to be fair about how we compare Google Stadia. It's important to be fair. Now, I did criticize Google for not putting more games. I did criticize them for not putting more games part of the Pro subscription. I did criticize them for not including the Guild exclusive game for Google Stadia, for them not including it on the Pro subscription. So I did criticize them. Look at this guy. Oh my God. Did you see this guy? Unbelievable. Pulls right in front of me. So there is criticism for Google Stadia, and people who watch my videos, they see it, they know that I do have a criticism on Google Stadia when it's due, and I clearly have mentioned that on my previous videos. But in terms of like the overall service, whether or not it works or don't work, that has been debunked. Of course it works. It works really well. Now the only problem is the games. I hear you. I hear you on that. And yes, that is the one issue that's facing Google Stadia. And I did criticize Google Stadia. And I did criticize Phil Harrison for not being outspoken about putting more games. Like, you know, you need to be more outspoken. You need to be more engaged to reassure Google Stadia members that there's more games coming, and what type of games, and what type of deals do you have with other developers. I mean, and them not showing up on, you know, CES Vegas, or not showing up here, not showing up there, not being outspoken. It's not good. Look, man, I said this before. The fate of Google Stadia will depend on Google, and how much of effort are they willing to put into it. Just like this YouTube channel. Once I stop putting videos, once I stop uploading videos, you guys gonna stop watching this channel. You're not gonna care anymore. Okay, so it's up to me to feed you the content and videos. And I spoken about that clearly. I said that. So I want everybody to understand this. I know there's YouTubers who are hardcore Google Stadia fanboys. I know that. I know there's Google Stadia fanboys out there. You know, I'm not stupid. I see it, I know it, and I know who they are. And I'm sorry, but you are Google Stadia fanboys. You know? And that's okay, fine. But the difference between you and me is I am willing to criticize this company for the lack of games they're putting, or for the lack of cutting prices, or for the lack of more games, or for the lack of them being engaged with their members. I mean, I don't understand. What I'm having a difficult time understanding about Google is, okay, you have this service running, but you are not talking to your members. You're not talking to your Google Stadia supporters. You're not talking to them. You're not engaging with them. So, and where's Phil Harrison? You know, I always said, I mean, you were the godfather of this. You were the CEO of the company. So where are you? What's going on? You know, aren't you supposed to be talking about Google Stadia? So yeah, I do worry about that aspect, and I do criticize Google Stadia for that. They need to be more outspoken. They need to let us know what's going on, and above all, they need to be honest with us. You know, and here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's what's going on, and I'll tell it to you right now. The reason it's so easy for Google Stadia haters to hate on this service is because the Google Stadia is making it easy for them to hate on this service. Simply because they're not saying anything, they're being quiet, they're not showing up anywhere, they're not showing up on a game show award, they're not showing up on the CES Vegas, they're not showing up anywhere, they're not doing any interviews. So they're really making it easy for somebody who's a skeptic, or for somebody who's a Google Stadia. They're really giving them an ammunition to say and to make their case, to say, hey, see, I told you so. They're not saying anything, they're being quiet. That means that they're failing. They're failing. So basically, Google Stadia is giving enough ammunition to all the haters and all the naysayers and skeptics. They're giving them an ammunition to talk all this crap about Google Stadia. And then if I'm somebody who's sitting on the fence, I can easily say, well, you see, they have a point. They're not talking anything about this service. They're not doing any interviews. They're not saying anything. Phil Harrison is missing in action since November 21st. Nowhere to be found. Not saying anything. So, you know, there's that. There's that fear. There's that fear. And I totally understand that side of the coin, you know. But the thing is, Google Stadia has opportunity now to say something, you know. And honestly, here's what I believe: whether or not this Google Stadia service is going to succeed or not, it's really going to depend on the management. And I honestly don't believe Phil Harrison is the one to be leading this Google Stadia. I think the reason Google Stadia it's sucking right now and it's not doing so well, it's because of Phil Harrison. I think really it was a mistake to hire Phil Harrison for this. I'm telling you right now, he wasn't the right man for the job. Just like, what's the name of the other guy? There was other guy who did On Live, Steve Pearlman. Same thing with Steve Pearlman. He wasn't the right man for the job. Because the problem with Phil Harrison and Steve Pearlman is they're just looking at how much money they're going to make. They're just looking at a business point of view. He's a businessman. He's not a gamer, okay? Phil Harrison is a businessman. He's looking at how much money he's going to profit. And he's just looking at that point. And that's not good. When you have suits only caring about the money, they're not going to be successful. Why is Phil Spencer successful? Because Phil Spencer, sure, he cares about money too, but first and foremost, he cares about the success of a brand. And he's a gamer. So, and he's not wearing a suit. That's another thing. And I think that's a fundamental difference between Phil Harrison and Phil Spencer. And honestly, I believe the reason the Google Stadia it's in this limbo and it's not moving anywhere, it's because of Phil Harrison. Because Phil Harrison is not the right man for the job. And I honestly believe that. He is not the right man for the job. I mean, look at the Xbox. He sucked at the Xbox. He sucked at the PlayStation 3 with a ridiculous price. He's just not good at anything, honestly. I mean, I'm sorry, man, but if we look at your history, if we look at your resume, you really haven't done anything successful. And I don't mean to be a jerk to the guy, because I did, have a couple of tweets with him, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just being honest, dude. I just don't think, I'm sure you're a nice person. I'm pretty sure you're a nice person, but you just don't know how to manage and how to sell. Seriously. And managing is the most important part. You're doing a piss poor job managing Google Stadia. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from Google Stadia fanboys, and I'm going to get a lot of heat from other people as well. I might have some Google Stadia haters supporting me here a little bit, as a matter of fact, but I don't care. I just got to be honest. You see, that's why I'm relevant, guys, because I'm able to call both sides of the aisle, both sides of the coin. And I think that's what makes me relevant, is that I have the ability to call both sides of the aisle. I can cover both positive and negative on Google Stadia. Others can't do that. Others are just defending one side while the other is defending the other side. I don't do that. I'm totally independent and honest, and I want to give you guys my honest opinion. Does Google Stadia work? Yes, it works. I defended it because it works. If those haters out there said Google Stadia works, there is HDR, there is 4K, there is no latency, it works, but there are no games. If that's what they said, there would be no issues, there would be no problems. Then I would respect them. If Yongya said, hey, Google Stadia works, but there's no games, I would have no issue with Yongya. If Dreamcast guy said, hey, Google Stadia works, but there's no games on it, I would have no issues. But the problem is they lied. They said that it doesn't work. Okay? So I defended Google Stadia on one merit, that it works. However, managing the service, not putting that many games on pro subscription, not including the Guild, which is the exclusive game, not pumping up more games, not being active, not making interviews, not being active on game show awards, not showing up on a CES Vegas, not doing interviews talking about the future plans. That's a one big negative. That tells me that you guys are stuck. You guys have failed on this thing. I don't know how else to call it. I mean, what are you guys waiting for? And I think it's pretty sad that you're expecting. I mean, I really don't get it. Okay, if Phil Harrison is watching this, sir, if you are watching this video, I really don't understand. Like, you have people who bought this Google Stadia device and this service, and they are defending you. They're helping you. They're promoting. They're helping you. And what do you do? What do you do, sir? Nothing. Nowhere to be found. You're not talking about it. You're not saying anything about it. So, you know, that's a problem. That's a big problem, in my opinion. That you're not saying anything about it. You know, and you should be saying something about it. I think it's pretty sad that. Look at this guy. He won't even let me pass. I think it's pretty sad that that we have to talk about it. That we're the ones who have to talk about it. You know, I think it's pretty sad. So, listen guys, when it comes to Google Stadia, I said this before, I'm not your Google Stadia spokesperson. You know, I know you would love me to be your Google Stadia spokesperson. I'm not a spokesperson for anybody. I'm just somebody who is a fair devil's advocate. Think of me like a devil's advocate. I like to be independent for this reason, so I can call both sides of the coin. All right? I covered both positives and negatives of Google Stadia. Does Google Stadia work? Yes, it works. Are there some issues with lack of games? Yes. Should we criticize Phil Harrison for not being active, for not being outspoken? Yes. He needs to be outspoken. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is your service. This is your investment. And you're not saying anything? You're not doing any interviews? I mean, what are we supposed to think? If you're not doing any interviews, if you're not saying anything, what are we supposed to think? I mean, really, what are we supposed to think? I can only think one thing, that you want this. It's almost like you don't care about this service anymore. You know, what happened? You know, aren't you supposed to be outspoken? Aren't you supposed to be... Listen guys, I'm just going to say it like this. If I'm a CEO of a company and I don't talk to you for about a month and a half or 2 months and I don't say anything, and I'm supposed to be the head of the company, so that means I don't care. I don't know how else to say it, guys. And if you guys have better argument or better explanation as to why Phil Harrison doesn't want to talk about Google Stadia, why Phil Harrison is nowhere to be found, if you guys have better explanation, you know what, man, I'm all ears. I'm all ears, I'm all eyes. I would love to hear your explanation. Please. I would love to hear your explanation. But so far I haven't seen anything. Any indication. Even on his Twitter page, he's not saying anything. I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, guys. I mean, this is your service. You're the CEO of this company. You're the founder and the CEO of this company. And what do? Phil Harrison, what do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you deserve to be criticized. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's your company. If something goes wrong with my channel, who is the person responsible for something going wrong with my channel? Me, this guy, because I'm the owner of this channel. So I need to be the one to be out there letting you know what's going on. And the fact that you've been quiet for a month and a half, not saying anything, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for the Google Stadia. It really is not. So I don't know, guys. I really don't. I never seen anything like this in my entire life. I never seen someone who's a founder, co-founder, and CEO of the company of Stadia not say anything, keep it quiet, not say a word. I really am having a difficult time trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the strategy behind this. I mean, I love Google. I want Google Stadia to be successful, but let me tell you something. You're not going to be successful if you are just being quiet, if you're not saying anything. All right? You got to talk to your supporters. You have to talk to your fans. You have to reassure them that there's a bunch of games coming, there's a bunch of features coming. It's 2020. I mean, what's going on, dude? Why are you still quiet? Why you are still quiet? And that's why I'm doing this video while we're driving like this, looking for a Sasquatch and a Bigfoot. If you guys want me to do a live stream of this, I'd be more than happy to do a live stream if that's what you guys want. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I here's the thing, guys. I really want to see Google Stadia succeed. But I have to be honest, man. Them being quiet, Phil Harrison being quiet, not saying anything about it, I don't see how they're gonna be successful, how they're going to succeed. I just don't see it, you know. And it's pretty sad. I mean, it's January. We're almost in mid-January 2020. Mid-January 2020, and Phil Harrison is nowhere to be found. Nothing. No updates from him on what they're gonna do, what the plans are, what he's doing, what are the new development on Google Stadia, what are the features, when are the new features coming up, when they're gonna implement the new features, when is the base Stadia features gonna be available. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from Phil Harrison. And why do I mention Phil Harrison? Because you are the CEO of the company. Who else am I gonna call? You. This is your baby. This is your product. Dude, you are the one that needs to be talking about this, not me. I'm not CEO of Google. If I was the CEO of Google Stadia, don't worry. I know what to do. I know what my game plan would be. But I'm not. But you are. So, you know, what do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You just sit being quiet for a month and a half. I don't know. I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this. What are your opinions? Because I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I've never seen anything like this. You know, even a company that's failing, the CEO would still defend its company all the way to the end. But this guy's not doing anything. This guy's not saying anything. This guy's just being quiet. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. No interviews, no nothing, no quick updates, zero. It is really bizarre. Alright, let me park this thing over here, guys. I'm gonna just end this video right now. I might do a live stream of this later on. Let me know what you guys want. I might do a live stream of it, or we might do something from Google Stadia. I don't know. Listen, guys, I'm trying to cover both sides of the aisle. All right, I know some of you want me to do a podcast. Some of you want me to be your spokesperson for Google Stadia. Guys, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm nobody's spokesperson. I joke around about it being a spokesperson, but I'm not spokesperson for any brand or any device. If I wanted to do that, I would have done that a long time ago. Here's the deal. Google Stadia works. It works. I've tested it for a month and a half. It works. It works. Okay? 4K works. HDR works. There's no latency because you got a Wi-Fi controller. So technology works. Okay? So that side of the aisle, technology works. The other side of the aisle is the service. $10 a month. How many games are you getting for $10 a month? Not that many games. Not a good deal. You need more games included for the $10 a month. How many games do you have right now? Something like 28 games. That's not enough. You need more games. And then the pricing on these games needs to be cut down. So, and then on top of that, the Phil Harrison, the CEO of the company, it's missing in action since November 21st. Not saying anything, not doing any interviews. They're not showing up at the Game Awards. They're not showing up at CES Vegas. Are they going to show up at the keynote? Are they going to show up at the E3 show? So what's going on? Okay, this is not good. When you're not showing up, when you're not being outspoken about it at all, that's a bad news, man. That's a bad signal. That's not a good signal. It means that I turn off the engine. It means that something is going on. Something is going on that you're not telling us. And I have a feeling, I have the same feeling that I had about Steve Perlman with the OnLive service. And I was the first adopter of OnLive service. Yes, I did spend a bunch of money on the games. Arkham Knight and all these other games I played. And it hurt. And it hurts when they shut down the service. And I lost all those games. It sucked. It sucked badly. It's just like it's going to suck for us who bought the Google Stadia and spent all this money on the Google Stadia games, and then all of a sudden the service is shut down. It's going to suck badly. I hope that doesn't happen. But when CEO of the company, it's being so quiet and it's not saying anything, that sends me the same message that Steve Perlman sent with OnLive cloud gaming back in 2010. Okay? So, I want you to, the reason this video is so long, because I want you guys to understand, both haters, skeptics, and fanboys of Google Stadia. I need you to understand this. I'm not here to hold anybody's flag for your television, for your consoles, or for your virtual reality, or for anything. I don't hold flags for anybody. I'm totally independent. Please, guys, do remember that. I'm independent. Okay? So, as someone who's being independent, that makes me relevant because I can look at every product from both sides of the aisle, from both sides of the coin, and I can make a unbiased observation. Okay? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm making a unbiased observation. When it comes to Google Stadia, I'm covering both positive and negative. I'm covering both sides of the aisles, and that's what you need to do. Somebody who is independent and unbiased, you need to cover both sides of the aisle, and that's what I'm doing here. So please do remember that, guys. You know, because I know some of you want me to be your spokesperson for Google Stadia. Guys, there's other guys who can be your spokesperson. I'll mention one guy, Stadia Cast. He's a great individual to do that. There's a Stadia Generation. There's Cloud Gaming X. There's others out there. There's USA Stadia. There's others out there who can do this. Me, guys, I don't want to be a spokesperson. You know, I've been getting messages left and right. Why don't you become a spokesperson? You could be an excellent spokesperson for Google Stadia. I cannot be a spokesperson for anything because I'm independent. Okay? Like I said, Google Stadia works. Technology works, and that's a good news. The bad news is Google Stadia is not being outspoken about what they're going to do for the future plans. Phil Harrison is not being outspoken about what they're going to do with the future plans. When they're going to start doing basic Google Stadia service, where you don't have to buy $130 Google Stadia equipment to, or pay $10 a month to be able to join. When they're going to put more games. When they're going to add more games. There's so much they're not telling us. There's so much here that they're not telling us, and that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, man. That's not a good sign at all. That scares me. Investing, buying games from Google Stadia scares the shit out of me right now. It scares the shit out of me right now because there's no reassurance. Okay, I want to end this video by saying this. There is no reassurance on that Google Stadia is going to be around. There's no reassurance. It's unpredictable, and I don't feel comfortable paying $60 for a game or paying $50 for a game when I don't know that this service is going to survive. Especially with the Amazon coming up, with a Valve cloud gaming coming up, with Electronic Arts cloud gaming. There's really it doesn't look good, guys. Doesn't look good. So I hope that this shows you that I'm independent, and I hope this shows you that I can look at both sides of the aisle. That I'm somebody who can look at both sides of the aisle and make the observation based on that. All right? So thank you for watching. I'll probably see you guys later on with a live stream. All right? I hope you guys, some of you seems to like this mustache. You know. So thank you. I mean, if you guys love the mustache, I'll keep it. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.